Hey, what's up guys, it's Renaldo here. So this video is going to focus on the fact that South Africa was uninvited by France to attend the G7 that is taking place in June this year. Now, you know that hashtag that the ANC loves to use, "We will not be bullied"? Well, you were bullied. And not only that, you were also just ignored. And the presidency has come out and said, well, it is because of the pressure that the United States has placed on France. We can't confirm that as of me making this video right now. Maybe France will come out with a statement and the United States will come out with a statement. But as of right now, it's only the South African government that is saying that it's because of pressure that was placed on France by the United States. The thing that you have to understand, though, is that the G7 nations are all in support of the United States and what they are doing in Iran. All of those nations believe that Iran is a massive problem to world peace. And South Africa, that got an invite to go to the G7, would then, of course, be against those seven nations and what they believe in, because the South African government has clearly stated that they support Iran. You know, the same nation that just 2 months ago killed over 30,000 of their own people for peacefully protesting. They switched off the internet and then brutally killed these people. But nobody talks about that. Mainstream media doesn't talk about that. Iran themselves don't talk about it. It's almost like it never happened. It's almost like it never happened. And then the same ANC who wants to talk about gender-based violence in this country and how we should do everything to fight it, support a country where women don't have equal rights, where women can be flogged publicly for not wearing a hijab, and where they can be publicly executed for not following the law. And let's not even start talking about children that are forced into marriage from the ages of 9. But this is, the contradiction of the ANC-led government in South Africa, where you'll talk about gender-based violence and how we need to protect women and children in this country, but then you completely ignore it when another country kills their own citizens and don't give women and children equal rights. Make it make sense. But just to bring it back to the fact that South Africa was uninvited by France and then France invited Kenya instead, let's listen to what Business Tech had to say with regards to this. Business Tech, United States deals another blow to South Africa. Yes, because it just keeps on coming, right? So over here it says, France has withdrawn an invitation for South Africa to attend a summit of group of 7 leaders in June, following pressure from the US, President Cyril Ramaphosa's office said. So we don't have confirmation from France or from the United States yet. So we're going off of the word off of the presidency's office. I will just wait before you just blindly believe that. Leaders of the world's richest nations are scheduled to meet in Evian-les-Bains in southeastern France from the 15th to the 17th of June. The invitation was withdrawn by the French government due to sustained pressure from the US, South African presidency spokesperson Vincent Magwenya said by phone on Thursday. Once again, let's wait, because Vincent Magwenya is not really the most reliable person out there. That's the communication we received from the French government. All right. A spokesperson for President Emmanuel Macron's office didn't immediately respond to a request for comment. The US State Department also didn't immediately respond to a request for comment sent via its website and by email. Earlier, an official in Macron's office said that South Africa wasn't invited to the G7 because Kenya, where Macron plans to travel in April, is attending in its stead. Other invited countries include India, South Korea, and Brazil, the official said. Kenya's principal secretary for foreign affairs said on 24th of March that the East African nation had been asked to attend the summit. South Africa's relations with the US have deteriorated sharply since Donald Trump's return to the White House last year. The American president has falsely accused Pretoria of subjecting white farmers to a genocide and seizing their land, and denounced its relations with Iran and Hamas, and rejected black economic empowerment policies. Trump boycotted a G20 summit that Ramaphosa hosted in Johannesburg in November last year, and said South African officials won't be invited to attend this year's meeting in Miami. So the very first question that needs to be asked is, why does South Africa want to attend the G7? I mean, they've made it very clear that they do not want to align with Western values. They would rather align with countries like Iran, Russia, China. They would rather talk with Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis. But for some reason, they also feel that they deserve the right to go to the G7 because Macron invited President Cyril Ramaphosa. It just doesn't make sense. And ultimately, the G7 nations, all of them, the United States, Japan, United Kingdom, Italy, Canada, France, all of these nations has clearly aligned themselves with the United States in fighting against Iran. And on the other hand, we've got South Africa that has done everything in their power to break the relationship that we have with the United States, from publicly sending messages of support to Iran and condemning what the United States is doing, to people like Fikile and Mbalula calling the ambassador of the United States in South Africa drunk and a racist. Ultimately, the only people to blame for the fact that they have been uninvited from the G7 is the ANC themselves. Why would you want to go to this G7 summit if you don't align with any of the countries and their values and their beliefs? And this is now where eventually this ANC policy of we will not be bullied and we believe in sovereignty and we believe that every nation should do what they think is best is coming to blow back in their face right now. Ultimately, the ANC is reaping what it sows. The ANC has come out and said some horrendous things about the United States ambassador in South Africa, from being drunk at a business conference to being a racist, according to Fikile and Mbalula. And ultimately, because you've aligned so much with the skunks of the world, it's no surprise that other nations don't want anything to do with you. And this clearly indicates how insignificant the ANC is to global affairs. And of course, South Africa has to suffer because of DIRCO and the ANC deciding what our foreign policy is in this country. And this is just going to happen more and more. South Africa is excluding itself from real first world countries that want to build and not want to drop nuclear bombs on the infidels. So at what point will the ANC realize that they are fighting a losing battle? Because Iran, which in my opinion has funded the ANC and has kept it alive, is literally on the brink of not having anything anymore. So there's your funding that dries up. Russia is currently in a war and they don't have extra money to send. And China's housing market is on the brink of collapse. So the nations that you are aligning yourself with aren't going to support you, as well as the second biggest trading partner for this nation, which is the United States, will. But instead of fixing the relationship that you as the ANC broke, you'd rather double down and still throw this jabs and insults towards the United States. Remember, South Africa needs the United States. The United States does not need South Africa. And as much as I love this country and as much as I wouldn't want to live anywhere else, we have to face the reality that South Africa is not a world superpower. And with the ANC, it will never be a world superpower. So this is a clear-cut case of the ANC reaping what it sows, and ultimately, we are now being excluded even more by other nations. And remember last year when at the G20, the United States says that South Africa is not invited, and then many South Africans said, well, we'll see what happens. We'll have other nations that will have our back. How's that working out for you with this G7 where France just uninvited us? So if you think that other nations are going to boycott the G20 in Miami this year because the United States doesn't want South Africa there, there's a reality check coming for you very, very soon. So to conclude this video, congratulations to the ANC for once again alienating South Africa from the rest of the world. And it's very reminiscent of something that happened in the 60s, 70s, and 80s in this country. Oh wait, that was right. That's apartheid. When the international community looked at this country and said, "Ooh, we don't want anything to do with that." Well, guess what's happening in 2026? Exactly the same. And that's pretty much all I got to say. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please be sure to smash that like button, share this video far and wide. Remember to subscribe to this channel. It's absolutely free. It won't cost you anything. And the overwhelming majority of you that regularly watch my content aren't subscribed. But you can fix that by clicking the subscribe button below. If, however, you'd like to contribute financially to this channel, you can give a super thanks by clicking the $ below and then choosing an amount and submitting it. Or you can become a member to this channel by clicking the join button below, and that'll cost you 40 Rand a month. And that's pretty much all I got to say. Till later, everybody. Cheers and peace out.
You don't even know me, but every time you see me, you say, I wear my massacre. You don't even know me, but every time you see me, you say, I wear my massacre. I wear my massacre. You don't even know me, but every time you see me, you say, I wear my massacre. I wear my massacre.